Good morning, family. We are in September 2022 and I want to give everyone an update on what the real estate market is doing here in Baja California Sur, specifically Los Cabos. And you have a lot of chatter about recession, rising interest rates in the States, and people are afraid. I get it. The fact of the matter is that we've actually sold more real estate this year than we have last year, and last year was record breaking. At this point in September, we've already sold $1.1 billion this year. Last year it was 1.05. And before I get into it, this is going to be a year-over-year comparison for the first 8 months of the year. Okay, and just to let you know, most stuff is done here on the MLS, right? Houses, condos, off-market land purchases that are huge that don't show up in the MLS. A lot of commercial real estate here, like if a hotel, for example, if the Cape Hotel went up for sale, that would most likely be off-market. You also have luxury places that do not, like a lot of places in Chileno Bay or in Cabo del Sol. For the pre-construction, they will not list that on the MLS. So a lot of these larger transactions do not show up. All right, and then also there's a lot of pre-construction sales that are done below market value, and as soon as it goes retail, they set the price, but those numbers don't show up on the MLS either. So this is just a snapshot of what's happened so far this year. So we've sold a little bit more real estate than we have last year. I also want to say from that number, 44% of the sales in the MLS for Baja California Sur have been condos, 27% have been houses, and 29% land. So the majority condos, then you have land, and then houses. A lot of people are buying to build here now. And there is a little bit left over, and that would be commercial and multifamily. I left those out. It's such a small percentage of the market, and most people aren't looking for that. The average condo price in Cabo San Lucas, $340,000, just about. San Jose, the average condo price is $450,000. And then when you get into the San Jose corridor, when you start talking about Palmilla, Carencia, and all these other places, that goes up to $960,000, so almost $1 million for a condo. You can see right off the bat, San Jose is generally a more expensive market. The average condo price for all of Baja California Sur was $412,000. Okay, let's jump to the East Cape. Okay, so far 49 houses have sold in 2022. At this point last year, 64 houses had sold. And look, that's not a big number at all. So you're seeing a very severe shortage of inventory on the East Cape. There's been a lot of off-market activity, mainly Chileno Bay getting involved. I know Carencia is launching a huge project, and then Vidanta is about to come online, which is just gonna keep the electricity and the amenities, the infrastructure moving up the East Coast, and it's coming down La Paz too. So that's a big growth area. The Pacific side saw $165 million in total sales so far. That's gonna be $37 million in condos. Houses represent $101 million, and land $26 million. Whereas the East Cape is $65 million total. So once again, you have all these off-market deals that are happening too, but the Pacific market is really growing, okay? So I really call the Pacific kind of 50% Los Cabos and 50% California. It's kind of a mix of the two. That area is definitely gonna do well long-term. And let's see what else we have. La Paz, 51 million total, okay? So even smaller than the East Cape. We got 20 million in condo sales, 20 million in homes sold, and 11 million in land sold. I think La Paz is definitely gonna start creeping up as a bigger market in the future as people look for more bargains. I think that's just the way it's gonna go. I personally love Los Cabos. The thing about Cabo compared to La Paz is a little bit cooler, especially on the Pacific side. La Paz has a lot of, I would say, a lot of infrastructure already built out. It's got a lot more locals there. so prices tend to be a little bit lower. You also have the local government there. You know, that's the capital of Baja California Sur. Commercial and multifamily are really low. And there's a couple properties that I know were listed that are no longer listed, and you got to get into financing and things like that, but I can introduce you to some of these projects if that's what you're looking for. But right now, commercial and multifamily represents about 4% of the market. It's not big here. And once again, a lot of those, especially the bigger, and let's call them hotel properties too, those are getting sold off market. You know, that's a whole nother network of individuals or corporations that are buying those. So last year, we did 1.6 billion on the MLS. This year, I see us doing around the same. You know, we're going into peak season. It's mid-September right now. October 15th is really right around mid-October when they have Bisbee's fishing tournament. That's really what I call peak season getting kicked off. And for that reason, I see us having a very strong end of the year, regardless of what's happening in the United States. You got to think of the buyer that's coming down here. It's a lot of affluent buyers that are looking at prices, and let's be honest, interest rates in the States jacked up the price, the monthly payment on a house. So a lot of those people, when they come down here and look, they're saying, hey, this is an alternative that actually is cheaper depending on what you're looking at. So I see us finishing the year the same as we did last year. No surprises, and I think that's just what's gonna happen. You know, as we get into peak season and you have this beautiful weather, people start coming down here. I've seen it. I think it's gonna continue to happen. So I'm predicting just about the same sales as last year as we had, this year as we had last year. And the only real difference is we have less inventory right now. So people are really having to go pre-construction. So that's a whole nother ball game, but that's just a couple things to keep in mind when you're looking at real estate here. And just so people know that we're right where we were last year when we didn't have this chatter of recession, where we didn't have the chatter of rising interest rates and things like that. So I personally see the real estate market finishing pretty close to what it did last year.